I'm Sassy Star Healer, and this is an energy update for Gemini season. So, Gemini season, let's just start with that. Like, if you don't know astrology, I got you. Basically, we have 12 months a year. They're determined by the sun. The sun is moving through the wheel, the 360 degrees of the wheel. It just entered the 30 degrees that correspond to the Gemini constellation in the sky. So from the point of view of the Earth, we see the sun wherever it is this month. It's near that constellation. That's what Gemini season technically is. So what is Gemini? Basically, Gemini is a mutable air sign. Last season, we were in fixed earth sign. It doesn't move, and it's material. When we're moving from like fixed earth to mutable air, it's almost the opposite, fully literally opposite energy. What does this mean? Air is words, communication, anything that's like electromagnetic. So like anything that comes from the air and moves invisibly, anything that cuts through the air. So when we emit sounds with our voices, when we sing, when we say things, we're cutting the air with the sound waves. We're like shifting the air. Same with thoughts. It's kind of as if we're like picking up electricity in the air and suddenly it occurs to you. When you're like, oh, it just occurred to me. You don't think like, oh, it occurred to me through like my feet. Like you're not like thinking other than like here. It's as if like you have receptors kind of up here and you like pick up from the air. So Gemini is air sign. So it's a lot of like, you pick up ideas. And this is why Gemini is related to the lungs. It's related to the arms. Gemini people tend to speak with their arms. They move a lot. They tend to look childlike. The Gemini energy, and I'm not just saying Gemini people born under the Gemini sign, but people who have any planets on Gemini or the house in your chart that occupies Gemini tends to be the chart where you're like consistently exchanging information, consistently kind of like superficial level, like learning things and like talking to your community, talking to your siblings. Like you'll have a lot of like fast back and forth, like emails, communication, text messages. Text messages is so Gemini, right? Because you're like chit chat, like all of that is Gemini. Gemini is the eternal student, forever will be a child. So imagine if Aries, which is the first sign, is a newborn baby, the big bang, it cries, whether it wants to poop, eat, or like have fun, like if you're not paying attention, it'll cry. It doesn't matter. Aries is that energy of me. Then when we get to Taurus, we get to like a more toddler energy, not a newborn baby, but a toddler, where like they have to put everything in their mouths and everything is mine. This is mine. You're mine. Your necklace is mine. So that's the Taurus energy. It's just kind of establishing what in my surroundings is mine. Where can I like stand firmly? Now Gemini, you have your basic needs covered and you know what's kind of your surroundings, what's yours. Now you want to interact. Now we're talking about maybe a 10-year-old who's doing soccer, ballet, taking math classes, and also like in debates team. That is the Gemini energy. It's like, imagine if you had twins and they each have a group of interests and their entire week is occupied with like extracurricular activities. That is the Gemini energy. So we all have that energy somewhere in our chart. If you're a Gemini Sun, Gemini Venus, Gemini Mars, you may have that energy strongly in your daily life. And if you have like your Gemini house is empty and maybe it's your sixth house, the way you work is Gemini, but you're not necessarily a Gemini in the way you behave. It's just that specific area of your life. So we have entered the season where the sun, the great luminary of our galaxy, is shining on that side of you and shining on that side of society. So that's why it's June. It just makes sense to me that Pride would be on Gemini. There's nothing more queer than Gemini. There's nothing more like pansexual than Gemini, gender non-conforming than Gemini. There's nothing more like Gemini than like your image in the mirror and you, that relationship you may have with like your other voices in your head, the little angel and the little devil in your shoulder. Gemini. So if you think about it like that and you see society at large, you know that this is the month where we're all out and about talking to the local coffee shop person. Like we'll, you know, talk and call, talk, text, call, see what we're gonna do. Let's go to the beach. This is why like I'm so glad like kind of summer vacation starts during Gemini season, because it's like, oh, let's do a lot of like graduation activities, and let's do a lot of like, you know, like gathering information. But don't expect anything to go too deep with Gemini. So, okay, what's going to happen during the season? There's a lot of planetary movement. I say enjoy the acceleration, enjoy this like gathering of information. But remember, Gemini is also the nervous system. And the nervous system, the way the world is set up, capitalism, the way we move about, the way we have like emails all the time, text messages, access to everything all the time, everything everywhere all at once. I think that movie is very Gemini, by the way. It's like the most mutable, you know, movie ever. So like we're in a matrix that is everything everywhere all at once. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed. The Gemini people are overthinkers. They tend to be people who are like, their nervous system we need to calm ourselves down. I have several shit in Gemini. In my daily life is also Gemini. So I consistently need to, I have plants to ground me. I like go and touch grass, get like electricity back into my body by like leaning my back against a tree. Anything that we learned from the previous season, that's Taurus season, that's like grounding ourselves, we need to bring it into the season. This is why seasons evolve this way. We bring everything we've learned from the previous two and we into this new, more accelerated energy, but now we have the tools to like come back here into this like breath, body thing. There's nothing more fulfilling than Gemini energy being focused, Gemini energy being grounded, Gemini energy staying consistent. Even if you're like juggling 2 or 3 things, if they're within the same like kind of group of topics and they all feed each other, that is fulfilled Gemini energy. So for this month, try to like incorporate any kind of grounding techniques into your daily life, because a lot of shit is going to happen with the planets. A lot of shit is happening. On June 1st, Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, is joining the north node of karma. So everyone in the world on June 1st has this opportunity to become aware of your own philosophy regarding society, regarding your possessions. It's a really good day to sit down and meditate on it, like take stock, you know, like just write down like, here are the things that are most valuable for me. Here are the things that if everything else goes, this is what I want it to expand. This is what I want to stick with. This is what I find, where I find myself the most abundant, the luckiest. This is what it scares me, but I want it to expand. It scares me, North Node, but I want it to expand, Jupiter. So like when the planet of expansion joins that thing that you're supposed to conquer in this lifetime, but you haven't quite yet, and is maybe scary to go there, but you can't help but go there. There's an opportunity for, it's kind of like when you're walking in the airport and then you see those things that like accelerate the way you walk. It's kind of that. So it doesn't mean that that day everyone's going to get a blessing, like it's Oprah handing out cars and everyone gets a car. It's more like if you can purposefully get into that wave, then maybe you will like get big enlightenment, a big idea, something that will definitely push you forward. So on June 1st, just be on the lookout. Either prime yourself to receive those ideas by meditating and staying in a receptive mode, or be just on the lookout to see what occurs to you, because it's not like oh, I just had this idea. It's more like, oh, this idea actually may just be scary enough to move you forward towards your destiny and what you came to do in this lifetime. And we all get that opportunity. Jupiter takes 12 years to go around. The North Node takes 19. This encounter is specific, and they're also touching, kissing, making out in Taurus, which is stability, financial security, the pleasure of life, the good things in life. So I just think it's a beautiful date that will not repeat for a very long time. Take advantage of it. Second thing with Jupiter, May 2023, Jupiter entered Taurus. It's going to stay there for a year. This is a year of like where anything Taurus related, yummy, expands, and there's a lot of like potential material abundance. It's like a bonanza, right? Like everything just like, wow. The thing that happens is that when Jupiter leaves Taurus May next year and enters Gemini, so I've heard several astrologers said that like it's a bonanza while like Jupiter is in Taurus, because it's like it expands everything that's just like luxurious. But then you might overindulge, overspend accidentally just because it feels right. And then when it enters Gemini, it tends to be like reality check. So just enjoy abundance in a more abstract term, and keep your head on your shoulders regarding abundance in the more material term way, so that when Gemini season comes around, you do have, cushion. You do have like somewhere to like land. So yeah, just enjoy it. Don't overindulge, and make sure to. This is an amazing time because Jupiter is philosophies and Taurus is like that abundance, material abundance. So how can you, without overspending physically, connect to a philosophy of abundance? I, for example, use eating slow. If I eat slow, if I enjoy what I'm eating, I am connected to abundance. If I'm like, wow, what beautiful house I have, what delicious plants, how nice it feels to be here. Let me light up an incense. It doesn't have to be expensive for you to connect to it, so that you don't overspend and yet you're taking advantage of that energy. Because what happens is more of it comes if you're connecting to like how juicy it is, it gets juicier. And that's why rich get richer, poor gets poorer, and everything that you focus on grows. That's the time to do that. So from basically the 15th of June until like 26th, or maybe like let's say the 12th of June until the 26th, a lot of acceleration is happening. So from here until now, try to like get a practice in place that will get you through those, those like accelerated days. Mercury has been retrograding, is currently in shadow, and after June, like I think 15th or 12th, it'll get past the point. So Mercury went like this, and then suddenly it started retrograding, and now it stopped, and now it's gonna move forward. Once it moves forward past the point in which it started going back, things go like, and so that plus the sun being in Gemini, Mercury starts kind of moving so fast. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. It's a lot. So if suddenly those 10 days, 12 days, you start getting like a million emails, like just don't get overwhelmed. It'll pass. It's just that moment. Breathe. Use your lungs. Breathe. Use your arms. Stretch them out. Like integrate, right? Integrate the previous energies with Gemini. Second thing that's going to happen, June 3rd, we have a full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius, I think what's going to happen by June 3rd, like there's kind of tense energies, like with big planets involved currently as I'm speaking, but also like a few days more than that. And June 3rd, we're still like in that like kind of tension in the sky. So when a full moon in Sagittarius happens, Sagittarius is a sign of like big philosophies, big insights, big like discoveries of like realizations that come from almost like underneath. It's as if all the information you gathered during Gemini, Sagittarius puts it into like a bigger thing. So Gemini would be like the curriculum of in your university, all these little subjects that you have to like teachers and classes that you have to take is Gemini. But when you graduate and you have a career, I have a bachelor's, that is Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is kind of integrating the little information that Gemini put together. Sagittarius makes it into a philosophy. So when a full moon in Sagittarius happens, we have some sort of integration that comes to light. And depending on the area on your chart where Sagittarius is, it might be related to those topics. So for example, I'm a Sagittarius rising. It might have to do with my personality. So like it might happen that day or that week, I'm like, oh, this is how I kind of want to like present myself to the world. You know, this is how my personality has changed, have that big realization. Then in June 5th, we have a Venus, which is like how we love and get delighted with pleasure, how we like our aesthetics, the way we feel into things. Our feminine principle enters Leo, which is the sign of the performer, the big shine, big ego. Everyone come see me. I'm the fixed flame of God. It's the sun. Everyone come see. The sun doesn't move for everyone to come see it. The sun just is, and we move around it. So that's Leo energy. So June 5th and on, June 5th until October 10, our egos are gonna be in Leo. Like our feminine principles are gonna be in Leo, but Venus is gonna retrograde. So we're gonna revisit our relationship from June 5th until October 10th. We're gonna revisit our relationship to our feminine principle, no matter if you're a man, woman, or gender nonconforming, our feminine principle and how we let it shine, how we let people come to us, how we magnetize, attract, and like take center stage, how our taste and like our artistry and our comfort and our relationship to that, like, you know, Venus takes that stage, shines, whether it's inside your home or in your local communities, amongst your friends, or in front of the mirror, or in actual stages. That is a relationship we're going to be revisiting from June 5th and on. Thankfully, you know, the sun in Gemini and Venus in Leo, that's really good. That's like a nice, harmonious, you know, relationship. But when the sun moves to Cancer in July, it might be a little like, oh. And then when Venus starts retrograding, we're going to review those themes. Another thing that's happening is that in June, I want to say June 15th. I'm going to check again. Okay, June 11th. Okay, so right now, last energy update, you can go back and see it. I talk about Pluto. Pluto entering Aquarius. We got a taste of what that is. We saw all these AI and technology related themes. Aquarius is a sign of communities, and like Pluto is like deep transformation. Aquarius is a writer's room because like it's fixed air. So a bunch of writers are thinking ideas in this like locked down room, you know, that's like fixed air, and it's community. So it's fully Aquarius. It makes sense that as soon as Pluto enter Aquarius, everyone's like, wait, this shit's fucked up. And like a writer's strike happens, potentially an actor's strike. Hopefully we'll, you know, with the power of the community, we'll transcend what's coming. So we've seen Pluto in Aquarius, and now it's going back to Capricorn, June 11th. It might feel like a little bit of a relief because we are more used to Pluto and Capricorn. It was the last 15 years of our lives. So it might feel a little bit like, okay, these lessons, I know. These lessons I've been living since 2018, since 2020. So like but at the same time, it might feel like, why am I back here? Why are we in this? Why are we here again? And Pluto stops retrograding in Capricorn October 10th. Same day that Venus moves on from Leo, Pluto moves on from retrograding. So from here until October, there's like a significance because there's two planets that are like, one is external, one is personal, and they're both kind of doing the same for the same period of time. So there's a bit of a revisiting how we shine in the world, how the feminine energy is shining in society at large, how the toxic masculine energy has been ruling the way society has been built. And since 2020, we started revisiting like, wait, this feminine energy needs to shine more. Like maybe a matriarchy is like the way to go. These themes are gonna be present starting June 5th. So acceleration, revisiting Neptune. Saturn is gonna retrograde as well. Saturn is in Pisces. Pisces is like big enlightenment. Saturn is like rules. So like putting rules to the enlightenment. And now we're like, that's what's been happening since like this year. And now we're going back. So we're gonna review how we're putting like, giving a structure to our, meditation practices, how we like let go, how we flush out toxins that don't mean anything, how we receive and perceive and organize the universal consciousness, how we integrate them into us. Because, you know, I always think of this, Pisces. When you have an idea and you don't execute it, and then you see someone posts something online that is exactly your idea, well, that means the idea was there to be taken by the first suitor. And like, if you didn't take it, someone else did, but the idea was meant to be born and someone needed to channel it. And it came through you, knock on the door. Like, are you home? Oh, you're not home? Okay, I'm gonna knock on someone else's door. I feel like that's Pisces. It's these ideas that are kind of like ready to be downloaded. The universally consciousness being put into our bodies. That's, I feel, Saturn and Pisces. That's like a practice of Saturn and Pisces. It's like a regular meeting with the muse. It's a regular meeting with the universal consciousness to see what pertains you to channel, what pertains you to give birth to, of the things that are available in the ether. There's some things that just need to be born at the time they need to be born, and they are available. It's like a buffet. And so I think our transit of Saturn and Pisces has to do with like getting rigorous and like focusing on how we personally connect to that universal consciousness. How do we show up for the muse on the daily? And they say the muse is hard to catch, but if you show up there every day at 9 a.m., she'll know where to catch you. So now Saturn is going to go back. And so it's time for us to review those practices. And if you know your chart, you can see where it's at. In my case, it's the third house. So I know it has to do with, it's Gemini. So there's a heavy Gemini element in my chart at this moment. But for you, it might be something else. Also, Gemini and Pisces are squaring. So you know, there might be a tension between how like daily life is calling you everywhere, and you're trying to like get this practice in you, how you're being pulled in many different directions while you're also trying to just connect with this higher being, ether, universal consciousness. So I would say, oh, and then Neptune is also retrograding. Neptune has been in Pisces for years and years, is retrograding. Neptune is also that power to be enlightened. Neptune is also illusions, fantasies. I think filmmaking is Neptune. It's like creating fantasies with a screen so that people can see special effects, like all these like make-believe, anything that's like, you know, foggy filters, Instagram filters is very Neptune. It's like underwater. You don't really know what I look like. You don't really know what's... And so in a way it can be amazing, you know, like in terms of, yeah, those fantasies. And in a way it can be like alcoholism, or like you're fully drugged out of like connection with the earth. You're not a spirit. You're in a body. This is where you are. You have all of the eternity to be a spirit after your body goes, but now you're in a body. So as Neptune retrogrades Pisces, Saturn rule like structure retrogrades Pisces, and Gemini pulls you everywhere. There's an emphasis on being here now, moving slowly, like almost like seeing the Matrix, like I move slower so I can move faster. Somehow by moving slower, everything slows down. There's an element of like, can you during this month do a little bit of time bending, as I call it, where like hours go by and you keep getting shit done and you don't even know because you seem like you to be moving slow, but somehow time is not moving. If you're connected to the present, to your body, to your breath, and purposeful, you can time bend. Time is very malleable, I've learned. It'll always move forward, but within that, we can make the bullets go like, oh. So there's an emphasis on get your like wizard hat, like time wizard hat on, and like bend the time. There's an element of big realizations, a lot of reviewing, and yeah, so also Uranus is in Taurus. It's been the Taurus is stability, the way like we find stability in our body, in ourselves, in our society. Like this is my Taurus, right? This is my house. This is my couch. This is my Taurus. It's mine, and it gives me comfort and stability. I feel stable because I have these elements. Uranus is surprises. Anything goes. Random. Like, next day, suddenly I have to get rid of my couch because I'm whatever. So it's been in Taurus since 2018. Since 2018, we've been prepping for this whatever happened in 2020. We were prepping already since 2018 to get used to like the destabilization of how we make money, of how we see industry, of how we see stability, like all of this. So it's been moving slowly, and finally this month is going to touch 2 new degrees of Taurus, the 20 and 21st degrees of Taurus. We haven't seen this ever before, and we won't see it again. I remember in 2019, it was like around the 11th degree. I know because, I know this shit. But so look how long it's taken from like 2020 to 2023 to do 10 degrees. So it's just going to touch a new area of our life. So there's those 2 degrees are of significance this month. Surprises may come there. If you know your chart, check out the 20th and 21st degree of your fixed signs. That's like 21st of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, and see if there's something there. And that's going to be the most affected. And also if you have things in the degrees 20 and 21st of Capricorn and Virgo, it's going to be like a more beneficial, more like a balm energy to these surprises. A lot of movement. At least it's not like that heavy. And this season is fully connected to October 10th. So Gemini season and Libra season this year are connected. And it's like a big thing. So some of these realizations that I'm talking about are like big planets. You may not have them until October. But bookmark them. Bookmark this month in your life. Like just take note so that in October you can be like, I know why this shit went down in June. I know why I was feeling like this, and like, don't be surprised if that's when they come out. There's a new moon. I'll tell you when. This June, June 18th, new moon in Gemini at the 26th degree. Planting the seeds that you're going to sow in December, 6 months later, approx. So, yeah, there's a June 5th to October 10th, there's a big cycle. And what is it, June 18th to like maybe like December, late December, another big cycle. One is of realizations and things that come up to the surface for you to like review. And the other one is seeds that you're planting so that you can come and see them later. So I think that's a Gemini season. Keep calm, keep protesting, keep getting information, get informed, and remember to bring the Taurus season connection to the body, to fruits, to like food, to all these natural elements. Don't forget to go and touch on grass, do picnics, do the things that will like calm your nervous system down. I think if I could see Gemini, I would see 2 nervous system, like the photo of the nervous system, which is like 2 eyeballs with a bunch of like strings. It looks so funny to me. Like 2 of those just being like, so if we can like get these 2 to like, put some eyelids on those eyeballs and take a breath. And yeah, I think that's the update for now. And if you have any questions, just please comment below or DM me. I'll happily answer if I have the time to, or if like too many people are confused about something, I'll make a reel or something. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy your season and let me know how it goes for you.